Retro Racing Reports from Ascot Park in Gardena. JC Agajanian presents 22nd Annual 25-Lap TT Steeplechase National Championship Motorcycle Races. Boy, that's a mouthful. There you go. This is actually the second part of the motorcycle show. This is the Saturday night portion on April the 9th, 1983. And it's TT Steeplechase, as they say, which involves left and right turns. It's not to be confused with motocross, but there may be a jump involved. And it's contrast to the flat track, which they ran previous night on Friday. There's a link to that one. We did a video on that one just recently. So we tie these two together for the Friday and Saturday night show. Great to have you along. This is the 22nd Annual TT Steeplechase. National Highlights by Roxy Rockwood. The 22nd Annual running. Time goes by. And now we host the second Camel Pro TT National of the season. Every rider that's won this event since 1974 is back for another try. The list includes 3 riders that have more or less dominated the final in recent years. Gary Scott has won it 5 times. Mike Kidd and Alex Jorgensen are both 2-time winners. All 3 are here tonight. As a matter of record, all 3 riders have won on more than one brand of racing cycle. Scott did it on both a Triumph and a Harley. Kidd scored back-to-back on Honda and Yamaha. And the ageless Jorgie did it on a BSA and last year on a Can-Am. The recent Houston winner, Steve Eklund, also won this event once back in 1979 on a Yamaha. He and Jorgie again teamed for this event, riding the Can-Am machines that found them running 4th and 1st here in the 82 final. The Harley team did not fare well here last time. Jay Springsteen missed due to illness, and teammates Randy Goss and Scotty Parker ran 16th and 14th. The same was true at Houston, with Springsteen again missing the event, Goss running 8th and Parker 10th. The best Harley showing at Houston, and perhaps here, may come from the new champ, Ricky Graham. Rick ran at Ascot in 82 and turned in a solid 3rd at Houston last February. Graham has already stated to one reporter he plans on winning the Peoria, Illinois TT event to be run this summer. He bagged his first ever national TT last fall at Santa Fe Park, which is a short, narrow type of track, over near Chicago. However, the race may come down to Steve Eklund, who is now tied with Dick Mann for all-time TT wins with a total of 8 nationals of tonight's type, and Mickey Fay, who ran 2nd to Steve in the Houston event. Both riders are unpredictable from race to race, but the early heat races may tell us if they are on or not tonight. Both have run very well here in past events. For Mike Kidd, it'll be his first race of the year, having missed Houston due to a non-racing injury. He was also out most of last season with an injury. Mike never got going in the final last year and finished a distant 7th after winning the 2 previous years. Only 2 names will be missing from the 17-rider final here last year, Eddie Lawson and Wayne Rainey. Both of them are now road racing full-time for Kawasaki. 2 others to look for, perhaps dark horse favorites, are Scott Pearson and Bubba Schobert. Schobert is possibly the most improved TT rider on the circuit. He ran 4th at Houston and 8th here a year ago. Not bad for a rider that started racing on the quarter-mile short tracks on strictly lightweight machines. Thanks for joining us here tonight to make this 22nd annual running a true test of man and machine and one of the best national races each year. That's our article by Roxy Rockwood. We do have a handwritten note in here from Gary Scott. His quote is, "I think Ascot TT is the best in the country. It's very demanding." We also have an interview-type article with Ricky Graham. If Ricky Graham of Seaside, the first California-bred American Motorcycle Association Grand National Champion since Steve Eklund of San Jose, now wants his first home track national victory in the 22nd Annual Camel Pro TT Steeplechase at Ascot tonight. Graham has had 2 second-place finishes in the big series at Ascot, one on the half-mile in 1980 and another in the TT last year. Consequently, he's given his native Californian some thrills, and he's training hard by trail riding around the Monterey Peninsula to avoid any slip-ups this time. TT races on the Camel circuit are unique when compared to other types of dirt track racing. A rider is able to recover from a bad start or a fall on the steeplechase course with its right and left-hand turns and jump, but he can't recover on half miles or miles. No one knows the difference better than Graham. In 1981 at Ascot, he recovered from a heat race spill to win a semi and got a third in the finale before another crash stopped him. Last year, he also slipped in a heat race but came through the semi to get second in the feature and pick up valuable points for the championship. At the Houston Astrodome this year, he and Kenny Roberts collided in the feature but still came back to finish third. We're getting in the best shape possible to get out front early, Graham says. Then we won't have to worry about any of those tangles you get into on steeplechase course. I feel good about this race and the season. The confidence I felt as the season went along last year is really coming back. I've got to get Tex Beal to help me as he did in those bikes last year. He put my brakes back on at Houston right after the crash. There are, of course, some other top contenders in the TT tonight who have winning ideas of their own, and they don't want to see Graham get the kind of jump he did a year ago when he was still able to win the crown by 2 points, even though he finished 8th in the final race here at Ascot. And one more brief story involving Steve Eklund. Publicity-shy Steve Eklund of San Jose not only can widen his first-place margin in the American Motorcycle Association Camel Pro Series point battle, but he can establish an AMA mark in the 22nd National TT Steeplechase at Agajanian's Ascot tonight. Although he lurks in the shadows of some of the more flamboyant riders on the coast-to-coast camel circuit, Eklund can add to some other impressive credentials by becoming the top TT Steeplechase winner of all time if he wins tonight. After quietly taking over the first 3-time titleist in the 14th round of Houston Astrodome TT in February, Eklund finds himself tied with the retired and fabled Dick Bugsy Mann with 8 AMA TT national victories. Since one of Steve's 8 occurred at Ascot in 1979, he has to believe his chances are good. And a triumph at Ascot, where he started as a novice by commuting Friday nights from Northern California, could also be an omen that ends a streak of ill luck. After his TT victory at the home site, Eklund went on to win the Grand National title that year. Ironically, Mann's name came up then when Eklund clinched the crown. Steve had accomplished his championship running as a privateer or a non-factory rider. Mann had been the last previous professional to make the top spot on his own way back in 1963. Mind you, this is a 1983 event, so that's 20 years. In tonight's effort, Eklund finds himself among the recently successful Can-Am performers. He used the Can-Am at Houston and finished 4th with it at Ascot a year ago. Old Ascot foe Alex Jorgensen of Stockton won on the same brand. The rapidly changing scene at Ascot found Gary Scott on a Triumph in 1977, Jorgensen himself on a BSA in 78, Eklund won with a Yamaha in 79. Mike Kidd rode a Honda in 1980 and a Yamaha in 81, and Jorgie on the Can-Am last year. The entire group will be back this year, with Scott still on his ancient Triumph and Kidd now part of the Honda team. Rick Graham of Seaside, dominant on a Harley-Davidson and second to Jorgensen last year, wants to give his favorite bike its first victory since 1975. It would really help get him back into the chase for his second Grand National points title in a row. Well, that's it for articles. We have lots of information here, obviously, tons of photos. It's a terrific program. Nice color photos, too. We love that. And Alex Jorgensen won. It was his 7th national career win. How about that? He did that in 19 minutes, 22 seconds, blasting away. Second was Eklund. Third was Graham. Be sure to like and subscribe. Put your comments down below.